Most people think of BMW and instantly imagine sleek, luxurious cars that are a symbol of success. But in reality, not all BMWs have been winners. In fact, some have been total flops. Watch on to discover the biggest car fails from the legendary German automaker. We promise that you might be surprised to see some of the cars on the list. So get ready to enjoy a few laughs while learning about BMW's biggest blunders. The early 70s saw the creation of BMW Motorsports, whose first complete clean sheet car was M1. Designed to compete in Group 4 racing, it was first released in 1978. The M1 was the first mid-engine BMW ever made, and it held a lot of promise. But due to cost overruns and multiple delays in production, and F1 changing rules for Group 4 racing, making the car ineligible, the car never made it onto the track. This caused BMW's partner Intel Design to sue them for breach of contract, resulting in further delays and more problems. Despite all of the setbacks, the M1 was still an impressive car in its own right. It featured a 3.5-liter inline 6-cylinder engine that produced 277 horsepower. It could reach a top speed of over 160 miles per hour. Unfortunately, with only 453 produced, the cost was too high for most people to afford. The M1 was eventually discontinued in 1981, and BMW never attempted to produce a mid-engine car again until the i8 supercar in 2014. Even though the M1 was an impressive car for its time, it's hard not to see it as a failure when looking back on the project. It didn't fulfill its racing potential, was costly to produce, and never reached the mainstream success that BMW hoped for. Even though it was a failure, the M1 still stands today as a reminder of what could have been. It is one of the most beautiful cars ever made and will always be remembered as BMW's biggest failure. If you ever get the chance to see one of these cars in person, you won't be disappointed. It may not have been a success for BMW, but it will always remain an icon. Despite its beauty and design, this stunning supercar left a sour taste in many people's mouth due to its troubled production history and cost overruns. When it comes to the exterior and design of the car, the 507 is anything but a failure. After the Second World War, the economic conditions in Germany took years to come to a point where locals could afford luxury vehicles such as BMW. Max Hoffmann, importer of German cars to America, introduced the American public to German vehicles, and they fell in love with them. Having been successful in convincing Mercedes to build their iconic 300 SL Goldwing, Hoffmann convinced BMW to create a sports car of their own for the American roads. What came from his convincing was a beautiful car equipped with the first BMW V8 engine attached to a lightweight chassis and sport suspension. The car was all aluminum and handmade. However, due to exclusive engineering and craftsmanship, the retail price of the car was roughly double the intended target price of $5,000. For this reason, the car was a big failure for BMW, and production ended after less than 252 units were made. The BMW Z1 was released in 1989 with a lot of fanfare, but its failure to live up to expectations quickly saw it disappear from the market. Its striking design made it stand out among other cars on the road, but that's where the success ended. Instead of being the revolutionary car everyone thought it would be, it turned out to be a big marketing failure. The car had some unique features like plastic panels bonded to galvanized steel frame, but they were prone to cracking and fading after just a few years due to UV damage. Its other mechanical issues included a lack of power, poor suspension, and an unusual 5-speed manual transmission that made it difficult to drive. Added to this were the costly repair bills that came with the car and its low fuel economy. The final nail in the coffin for the Z1 was the retail price, which ended up around $50,000, about the same as a much faster and sporty Porsche 944 S2 Coupe. In the end, BMW went on to sell only 8,000, with over 6,000 being sold in the native German market. The BMW Z1 was a classic example of how even the most innovative designs can fail if they aren't properly tested before hitting the market. Despite its flashy design, it didn't have enough substance to make it a success. i8 was BMW's return to mid-engine cars since the M1. But while the M1 was a proper mid-engine supercar, the i8 was a plug-in hybrid featuring a 3-cylinder engine, far from being a supercar. To be at the forefront of technology, BMW created an entire division dedicated to electrifying its cars. The BMW i8 was a car that promised to be the future of eco-friendly luxury automobiles. It had all the makings of being a revolutionary car, a sleek design, hybrid engine, and innovative technology. But sadly, it fell short in sales due to its hefty price tag and inefficient performance. The truth is, the i8 was much more expensive than other hybrid vehicles on the market at the time. It also needed more frequent visits to the dealership due to its technical complexity when compared to conventional gasoline-powered cars. As such, BMW had difficulty convincing potential buyers that it would be worth the price and effort. Not only was the car too expensive, but its hybrid engine also failed to deliver on promised performance. Most people who purchased the i8 found that they were not getting the gas mileage they expected, with only 15 miles on a single charge, and often struggling with broken parts as well. Ultimately, BMW's attempt at revolutionizing the luxury sports car market fell flat, as buyers were unimpressed with the car's performance and were unwilling to pay the hefty price tag of $149,000. Despite its failed sales, the BMW i8 still stands as an example of how innovation can lead to disappointment when not executed properly. The BMW M5, a car with such high aspirations, it was meant to be the perfect balance of performance and luxury. Sadly, this was not the case. Although its technical specs were impressive, the car struggled to make an impact on enthusiasts when compared to its competitors. In fact, many will argue that the BMW M5 was a total failure. The 5.0-liter V10 engine was unable to produce the desired power output, and the car's handling was more sluggish than expected. Additionally, its interior lacked quality materials and felt cheaply made compared to other vehicles in its class. But why did this happen? Some speculate that BMW simply tried to do too much with the M5, and as a result, it failed to live up to expectations. Others point out that BMW design choices were misguided, such as decision to make the car heavier than necessary. Whatever the case may be, the BMW M5 was ultimately unsuccessful. In conclusion, the BMW M5 is a classic example of a car that failed to reach its potential. Despite its impressive technical specs, the car fell short in terms of performance and quality. It's unfortunate that such a promising vehicle ended up being a failure, but it certainly makes for an interesting story. Even today, many car enthusiasts still talk about the BMW M5. That's it for today's video. Thankfully, BMW learned from its mistakes and have gone on to produce some of the most successful cars in the world. Tell us down in the comments which one of these cars were you least expecting to see on this list. And is there any car that you would like to add to this list? We're going to keep you updated, so share with your friends, family, and everyone. For more insightful and helpful videos, subscribe to our channel and wreck the bell icon. Thanks.